Welcome back to my YouTube channel LEARN.COM. This is Ashutosh Tripathi, and today I am going to take the final and the third part of the topic, figures of speech. Now let's jump into the first slide. The first figure of speech that we are going to take today is interrogation. Now interrogation is the asking of a question not for the sake of getting an answer, but to put a point more effectively. This figure of speech is also known as rhetorical questions because a question is asked merely for the sake of rhetorical effect. Now what is the basic difference between the normal question and a rhetorical question? Let me explain to you. Now normal questions are those when asked we expect a certain answer. When we ask in our normal life, when we ask questions to someone, we expect some answer to it. But this is not the case with rhetorical questions. While asking the rhetorical questions, we do not expect any answer. We are just telling our opinion, our view in the form of a question. Okay, let us take the example. The first example, as you can see, is who can challenge the will of God? Now this question, we are not expecting any answer from this question. We wish to tell our opinion that no one can challenge the will of God. No one can challenge the will of God. Now this is what we want to say, but we are saying this or we are expressing this in the form of a question. Second example, isn't this place beautiful? Again, this is a question, but what we are trying to say is this place is very beautiful. But instead of saying it in a normal way, we express our views, we express our thoughts in the form of a question. Now what you can see here is that the positive rhetorical questions, actually they express negative thoughts, and the negative rhetorical questions express positive thought. I think it's clear now. The basic difference between the normal questions and rhetorical question is that in normal questions we expect answers, whereas in rhetorical questions we do not expect any answer. We just put forward our views, our opinion in the form of a question. Now the next figure of speech that we are going to take is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia, the formation of a word whose sound is made to suggest or echo the sense, as in cuckoo, bang, growl, hiss, or simply we can say words representing sound are used. Now, whenever in a sentence or in a line we use words which represent a particular sound. Here see the examples which have been taken, like the word cuckoo, the bang, the growl and the hiss. These are the words, whenever they are used, they represent a particular sound. So whenever such words are used, the figure of speech is said to be onomatopoeia. Means words representing sound. We will get an idea that some sound is being produced through that word. Examples will make it more clear. The train came whistling. The train came whistling. Now here the whistling word represents the particular sound. So such words which represent sound comes under the category onomatopoeia. Birds were chirping in the garden. Chirping again represents the sounds produced by the birds. So the word whistling and chirping, both the words represent sound. Means whenever a word representing sound is used, the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Now let's take up the next slide. Tautology. Now tautology is meant for repeating the same fact or idea in different words. So in simple words, two different words having similar meaning are used. Means there will be two different words with similar meaning. You can say the synonyms are being used here. We use synonyms. Two different words, but both will be having similar meaning. So whenever such situation occurs that two different words are used but their meaning is same, the figure of speech is tautology. See the example, the first one, it was adequate and enough. Now here both the words, the word adequate and enough, both have same meaning, that is sufficient. Adequate also means sufficient and enough also means sufficient. So they both are synonyms. So when such synonyms are used, the figure of speech is tautology. Next example, the milk is pure and unadulterated. Now here the unadulterated word also means pure. Anything which is not impure, that is unadulterated. So pure and unadulterated both are synonymous to one another. Both are synonyms. And such words when used in a sentence, when two different words used in a sentence having similar meaning, the figure of speech is tautology. I think it's clear now. These are very simple figure of speeches. Let's take the new slide. Inversion. This figure of speech is quite interesting. Normally the poets use this figure of speech to create that poetic effect. See, what is inversion? Inversion is a word which comes from the word invert. Invert means to reverse something, right? See, it is a term used to refer to the inverting of the normal word order in a sentence or phrase. Or we can say the proper sentence order is not followed or the words are not in proper order. Now, whenever we try to write a particular sentence, now every sentence is written in a proper order. We have to write subject, then verb, and then object. Then only it makes a sense. Now, suppose we are not writing in proper order. We are changing the positions of the word. So, such a figure of speech is called inversion, when the words are not written in proper order. Example will make it more clear. And in its sound we die. Now such another examples of inversion you will automatically come to know, because as soon as you read it will look very absurd to you. It will sound very absurd. Awkward means because normal order is not followed. And in its sound we die. So actually the proper order is and we die in its sound. This is the proper order. Now you see, when we read this sentence and we die in its sound, it makes a clear sense. Whereas here and in its sound we die. So this is looking very absurd and awkward. So such figure of speeches are called inversion, whereby the proper order of the words is not followed. Let's take up the next example. Vexed was I to find no vacant seat. Now again see, when we read this sentence, vexed was I to find no vacant seat. Now after reading it, we find that it doesn't make any sense. So the proper order of the sentence is, I was vexed to find no vacant seat. So poets or poetesses are deliberately applying this figure of speech just to create that poetic effect. Correct? Moving on to the next one. Pun. This is also a very nice figure of speech, mostly used by the poets and poetesses. Now it consists of a play on the various meanings of a word. Means a single word will have different meanings. A pun consists in the use of a word in such a way that it is capable of more than one applications. Means the single word can be applied in 2 or 3 different ways. Its effect is often ludicrous. So the single word having 2 different meanings. Now that is why we also say that a pun is a play on words. We play with the words, right? See, the first example: the tallest building in the town is the library. It has thousands of stories. Now here the word stories, it can be applied in 2 ways here. Right? This first way, how we can apply the word story. is that there are stories inside the library, that is inside the books. There are thousands of stories, and one story is which represents the floors of a building. We say that this is a 4-story building, this is a 10-story building, this is a 20-story building. So the stories here can be applied in two sense. One is the story which is we find inside a textbook, and the other, the word story represents here is the floors of the building. Right? To the next one. An ambassador is an honest man who lies abroad for the good of his country. Now, you know, ambassador is a political person who represents our country and stays outside the country. He represents our country and stays outside the country. So he lies abroad. Now, here the word lies can be used in two sense. The word lie means, one word is that he lies means not telling the truth or not telling the fact, telling false statements is the one way we can apply this word. And the other way, it is used as a verb. Lies abroad means he stays abroad. His position is situated outside the country. So in this way, the word lie can be used in two different ways or two different sense. Let's take up the next slide. Metonymy. Okay. Metonymy, it is nothing but a change of name. A change of, we use one word for the another, but both the words are closely associated with each other. It is a figure of speech in which one term is used for another, and both are closely associated with each other. Means two words having same meaning, but one is used for another. Right? See, the examples will make it more clear. The house has been adjourned. The house has been adjourned. Now this you must have heard. The words house you must have heard while watching the televisions. Whenever the parliament session is going on, the speaker usually uses this sentence that house is adjourned today. So the house here means the parliament. See, I have mentioned here in the bracket. The house means parliament. So when we say the house, it means parliament. So these two words stand for one another. The house stands for parliament and the parliament stands for house, and they both are closely related to each other. That is what has been said in the explanation, that it is a figure of speech in which one term is used for another and both are associated with each other. See the second example, the bench sentenced him to death. Now here bench means the panel of judges which sit in a court, the panel of judges who sit in a court and who take decisions regarding any particular case. So when we say the bench sentenced him to death, so bench means judge. See, bench here represents judge. The bench stands for judge and judge stands for bench. So such examples or such use of words comes under the category of metonymy. So metonymy is nothing, it is just a change of name. The one word is used for another, but both the words are closely related to each other. Let's jump into the next slide. Synecdoche. Now, synecdoche is the figure of speech whereby part is used for the whole and the whole is used for the parts. Right? Part is used for the whole and the whole is used for the part. See? Let's take up the example. When we say, staring eyes made me uncomfortable. Staring eyes made me uncomfortable. Here actually, the eyes are not making this person comfortable. This person is getting uncomfortable because of the whole person. This eyes is representing the whole person. Eyes is just a part of his body. So eyes is representing the whole person. See in the bracket I have mentioned, eyes are the part of that person, a single body part, but here that body part is representing the whole person. Right? So part is used for the whole, means eyes is representing the whole person. So the second example, then we say India won the one day international. Now whenever Indian cricket team wins a certain match or World Cup, we say India won the one day international. We don't say Indian cricket team won the one day international. We say India won the international because India is whole and Indian cricket team is its part. That Indian cricket team is representing our country. It is representing India. So the whole is represented by part. Means India is represented by Indian cricket team. So it is the case of part representing the whole and vice versa. That is whole represented by part and part represented by whole. Fine. So with this, we come to an end of the part 3 of the topic figure of speeches. I hope you enjoyed all the 3 sessions and all the 3 parts. I'd love to hear comments from all of you. In case of any doubt, you can put your comments. I'll try to get back to you. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye.